Good early afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the DEBRA Show. Today, I have with me my newfound soul tribe brother.
Let's go.
You know, my tribe is my vibe. Donelle Almighty Already
Already.
Cole. Man, look here. I am DEBRA Faye. I want to greet everyone who will have the opportunity to join us today. Today's topic is soulful love, spiritual, and metaphysical.
Perfect.
Ooh, I'm grinning because, boy, this is a topic, an area that is near and dear to our souls, his and mine. He's already starting his metaphysical journey. Boop, boop, boop. I'm not going to give you a lot of information. I'm going to let him give it.
That's right.
And we're going to get right into this discussion that I've been I spent some sleepless nights.
I love this. I love this. And I think it's so awesome that we get to discuss something that most people are unconscious of in regards to the dynamics of what relationship means to your journey and then what relationship to yourself means to life. So Nethead Tip, I'm excited. You ready to get this going?
Let me make sure our volume is where it needs to be.
Perfect.
I'm going to put it at about 72. That should be loud enough. And so we're going to get right back into it. Please introduce yourself. Tell us some wonderful things about yourself.
Okay.
And everything. Don't leave out nothing, because if you leave
Okay.
out anything, I'm going to interrupt you.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So my name is Donelle Cole. I am an author, a poet, an entrepreneur, run multiple different businesses, which is why I'm really waking myself up because we had to do taxes last night. I'm a father of 4 amazing daughters. I actually got a salad right now from one of my daughters who is just a brilliant. My wife, that we've been married 11 years. I grew up in Oklahoma, kind of migrated back and forth from Tulsa to Oklahoma. And it's funny that we talk about this because I was one of those kids that was on Scared Straight, juvenile delinquent in high school, grew up in the neighborhoods where it was considered at risk. So probably had this stigma on my life that I would never measure up to any type of acceptable standard when it comes to society. And got kicked out at the age of 16 for defending my sister. Was in an abusive relationship with my dad and defended her and ended up getting kicked out. And so kind of like you, Ned, I had to find my own way in the world that was kind of sheltered. And had a lot of drug abuse, alcohol abuse, substance abuse in my lifetime and got adopted by the first African-American police officer in high school. And it was like a divine appointment because we and my homeboys in high school had this bet. Listen, we got to ask the girl that no one would think that we would be with that's completely opposite of who we are to the Valentine's Day party. And I'm like, I got the perfect one. You know, this girl, she was a nerd, very articulate, very intelligent. And I thought, man, I'm going to strike it out. I'm going to ask her. End up asking her. And she says, you know what? We'll do it on one occasion. You got to meet my mom. And I end up meeting her mom. And her mom, from the first time she saw me, she said, I know you think you're going on a date with my daughter, but I've been waiting for you my whole life, son. And did not know the woman from anyone in the world, but it was something about her that resonated such a strong pull in my life. And literally it shifted everything in my whole life. And so I've written a book called From Living a Legacy Beyond the Barriers of Mediocrity. And what it really is about evolution. And I love.
Hold up, please.
Huh?
Hold the book up, please.
Yes. Let me I got the books outside. Oh, no, I don't. Hold on one second.
Okay. Because, we can let you slide away. I see that logo there, Almighty Already.
Yep, Almighty Already. So From Living a Legacy Beyond the Barriers of Mediocrity. And it's on Amazon as of right now. And I got an event tonight with Tavy. I don't know if you've seen it, but me and Tavy's meeting today.
Yes, I
go do some fire. To go do some speaking. But yeah, this was just something that God had placed on my heart because I would go back and I would do mentorship in different areas. And I would always get this question where people would say, well, man, how did you go from there to here? And after I thought about it, I was like, man, you know what? Growing up, I felt like no one taught me about identity. No one talked to me about mindset. No one talked to me about emotional intelligence. No one talked to me about, transitioning and having vision to propel my life into my divine purpose. it was always something that was led within a victim mentality of me feeling like I have to do things that overcompensate for my insecurities. So I'm grateful for this topic of relationship, because as I study metaphysics, and I've been studying this, man, well over a few years now, and I just finished the first cycle. So I kind of went through my own initiation, finishing the first cycle, which was respond to Ray, which teaches you how to respond in this.
You know, and before you go further, not only are you the author of that book,
yes,
you have another book.
I have a children's book that I just wrote. And that one sold out. Like, dude, in 1 week that book has sold out. So I got some more coming today. I got one like right here. So I'm about to show you this one as well.
Show it to Mama True Love.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
was hustling, yo.
We're glad you're joining us.
I am glad to be here. I say, you look so pretty.
Thank you.
A Caterpillar's Dream.
Ah, yeah.
And that's the children's book that I developed. And that's, once again, it's about self-discovery.
Yeah. And you said you just now finishing something metaphysically, but
so
getting ready to go into your studies. Come on.
So it's about to go deeper. So I just finished the first cycle of metaphysics, which has 4 cycles. And one of my good friends I was in ministry with, she's like, hey, I found out this college called the University of Metaphysics where you can go get your PhD. And so I love to be able to pour into people. My goal actually is to create seminars to help individuals be able to come to an alignment with who they're called to become. And so now I'm studying to get my doctorate in the metaphysical counseling.
All right.
Right. So yeah.
Yes. Woo, woo.
Yeah, which is funny because Latasha, she kept referring to me as doctor. We had a conversation. She kept saying Dr. Cole. And she's like, maybe I'm speaking over you. And then I just got this invitation and I was like, you know what? I was like, let me double down on my purpose. Let me double down. I'm kind of like you. I want to go as far as the journey would lead me to coming more into realization of the infinite nature of who I'm called to become.
Yeah. So, and that brings us to the reason why I feel so blessed and fortunate by the ancestors who lead me to such amazing people.
Yes.
And this is why you were chosen. And we hadn't even developed a topic. I just knew, look here, I need to get you on the show. I just did that. And I know how we've already been in each other's company physically.
Right.
Together back and forth. I promise not to do a whole bunch of movies and stuff today. But I knew that if I could get a yes out of you, then we would be led to a topic that you and I both knew that you were capable of handling because it was chosen. Nothing happens by coincidence.
Absolutely.
Specifically for you. Soulful love.
Right.
Okay. Spiritually and metaphysically. Because a whole bunch of people out in the world right now, society right now, they just think of attraction. And even in the church, when they say they go into church looking for a God-fearing man.
Right,
and
absolutely.
A God-fearing woman, they have no idea that where the biggest demons and devils is residing.
Absolutely.
Okay? So you have a format for us to follow today.
I do.
And I want you to introduce that format so that, we can see where it's going to lead and where it's going to take us.
Okay. And so we're going to talk about soulful love, spiritual and metaphysically. We're going to have 5 major points on it. The first one is resonance, how to attract and sustain love. 2 is recognizing what's in your field to keep your soul clean and create purity. 3, strengthening and empowering karmic bonds. 4, developing divine friendship with self and lover. And the number 5, building a legacy larger than yourself. And so to start this off, I really want to discuss 3 things. First, the universal laws and truths as we talk about metaphysics, because metaphysics really is the universal laws that governs all creation. And so when I think of that, you have to mention the importance of what is relationships and what are they for, right? Because those 2 things are very important. And so like you mentioned in church, we usually say, hey, I'm looking for this godly person. And when we think about that, it's always we're seeking something that we have not yet become. We have not yet become. And that's why I like to look at the universal truths and laws such as the law of attraction, or as above, so below. Because everything that takes place within is a magnification of what happens in your reality. And so naturally, when you become something, and if we're aligned with energy, which we're all energy, energy is never created to be stagnant, but it's also created to transform you into the entity of who you called to become. And I think that's why it's important to have a relationship with yourself. Because if you have a relationship with yourself, like you mentioned with the ancestors, I mean, something as profound as that is like our cells have been passed down from generation to generation. So all of this leadership, every aspect of everything we can desire, our ancestors have blessed us with, even the guidance. We just tend to go by ourselves. So when I was leaving this week, I was in Missouri and we had just finished graduating. This lady, she stops me and she says, "My soul knows your soul." She said, "I just moved from out of state. And when I moved into the state, you was the first person to cross my mind." And so some relationships that we have, they go beyond just the conscious mind, these physical senses. We have karmic bonds that do life, that pass through certain multiple different lifetimes. It is interesting because once you transition into knowing the consciousness of self, relationships are beautiful and they're rich and they're fulfilling. It can be something like having a thought, like you mentioned, and telepathy. We can look at each other, we can speak, we can feel. It goes far beyond the conscious state of this physical body. So I feel like sometimes people are missing out. And this is what we're going to dive deeper. So we talk about how to attract and sustain love.
Yes.
In church, they say God is love. God is love. And I love how I told you the story about the woman that adopted me, because I usually say, is God a woman? Yeah. Because the first woman that I saw, or the first introduction that came into love for me, as far as a form of God, was a woman who said, "I love you." This is before I truly knew Jesus or the Bible. This was like me looking at her, and even if there was no Bible, I can know God is who she is because of the nature of her being, right? She was the kind of woman that, like, could look at you, you could feel her energy, her presence, no matter where she's at, would move, right? So she dictated authority no matter where she was, and the virtue of who she was, it had resonance, it had reverence with it. It was meant to be honored and stored in such a passionate way. You just can't handle it anyway. And when I think about who we are, when it talks about resonance, it's me having standards that know that you are a king, to know that you are a kingdom, to know that you have a purpose, to know that you didn't just choose this life by accident. And I think that that's the way you got to be in your relationships, recognizing what's in your field. Since we all have energy, right? Energy has a field around it, and everything from our thoughts to our emotions is going to be projected in the field that we have. And the purpose of a relationship is to teach you about you. Yes. It's a give and take, and God in the universe works in reciprocity. It's always about giving and taking. I believe that's the reason why God created us, is because the thinker needed a receiver. The thinker needed a receiver for his thoughts. That's the reason why God is intimate by nature. And so, I give you a story. Me and my wife, if we're bumping heads, I'm always like, what is this in my field? If there's anger, if there is indifference, if there's something that's out of alignment, I always question, like, is it in my field? If it's a friend, and we're bumping heads, I'm like, what is this in my field? Because if this is in my field, I've given it authority to be here. Yes. And it's always been beautiful. So a tool that we use is called the Inharmony List. And basically, in this Inharmony List, if there's something that's out of alignment, I write it down. If it doesn't resonate with my soul, I write it down. And it's not to judge it from negative, because I know some people that are walking and be like, this person got bad vibes, I don't want to be around them, and we do that too often. I'm like, man, you could be missing out on an aspect of you that needs to be cleaned up.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yep. And I used to be that kind of person, like, fam, if it's negative, I'm cutting it off. But then I got to the point where I was thinking, how quick are we to cut people off whenever life is meant to develop permanent understanding, right? And you can't develop permanent understanding if you continuously cutting it off. And it's funny because we can cut something off and the next situation has the same exact aspects of what we just cut off. And so I love that about God. And it's a saying that I got, like, until it becomes permanent understanding, you got to repeat the lesson. Yes. And I tell my daughters that. I do. I'm like, baby, you can
Yes.
cut it off, but until it becomes permanent understanding, you got to repeat it.
Right.
And so if you want to attract and sustain love, it's a continuous journey, and it has to be a specific intention to be able to know. First, you have to come into love, and that's really coming into wholeness. And I love the idea of meeting that woman who loved me so much that it made me want to wonder, who is this person she see me for?
Right, right.
Because that led me to this journey. She's speaking life over me. She's like, you know, you're educated, you're going to speak and travel across the world. And at this time when she's saying, I'm like, yo, like, I'm trying to grow weed out in the garage, right? You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling her,
you know, before it became at least medically legal.
Before it became medically, and I'm telling her it's a cactus. She's a retired police officer. She's like, oh, baby, okay. Go and have fun with your little gadget, you know? But she would always say these amazing things to me in the midst of me feeling like, you know, I'm broken. In the midst of, you know what, I got put out when I was 16. Yeah. In the midst of, you know, I had a mentor when I was working at Taco Bell at the age of 17 that we got robbed and he got murdered right in front of me. Yeah. So I saw some of the purest form of love in its highest expression being taken, right? And so my thought in this world was like, why have anything beautiful when it's just going to be taken from you? This was literally a philosophy that governed the way I lived my life, you know, tried to take my life on multiple different times. And this was a woman that see me and said, not only are you beautiful, but you're my son. And for me, it was like, man, I got to figure out who is this that she's talking about? I had to figure that out. So keeping your field clean, so clean and create purity. I'm a big advocate for fasting. Of course, I switched my whole diet, so I'm doing just straight vegan now. Finding out what it looks like for you to respect and honor yourself. This is no knock to anybody that eats meat. I'm just saying for me personally, this is something I've had to do. I've had to transition to doing things that caused me to really be considerate on what feels great to me. And I feel like respecting your mind, respecting your body, it speaks volume to you and your soul knows it, right? It's just like if you don't keep word to your soul will know it. Subconsciously, it recognizes it, it knows it. Right. Strengthening, number 3, strengthening and empowering karmic bonds. So once again, my wife, when I met my wife, one thing that compelled me and how beautiful she was is she knows who she is. So I grew up around people that was, you know, gang banging, you know, pushing, popping pills, just all this stuff. And this woman was like extraordinarily beautiful, crazy beautiful to me. And she has that disciplined spirit about her. Like she's unmoved by any opinion at all. And in the midst of being young, I'm like, man, most people are feeble. People are like, I want to go kick it. And they could be swayed easily, but she was unmoved. And I remember one day she came to me and she says, you know what? You got a good heart. I respect you. But if you behave like that, we can't have a relationship like this. She was like, we can be friends, but we can't have relationships like that. And so she was at such an elevated state of consciousness that I had to elevate in order to be in alignment to understand what that meant, because I didn't have standards for myself. And so I love karmic bonds because karmic bonds, there's something about karmic bonds that when you're in the presence of individuals, it's for your soul's progression. That it hits you differently. Your energy is not the same when you get around individuals like that. And it's the same time I met you when we did our appointment, and I would light up, just every word I would light up, and I'm eating it up. And I'm like, yo, like, it's almost like when I left, I had to go rest because my mind had to assimilate everything that had just taken place, because I knew my consciousness was sharing your consciousness, and you had a wealth of knowledge to give, right? So it's different. It's the same way I feel about Queen now, same thing with her, same thing with Veronica, same thing with a lot of amazing leaders and masters. When I get around them, it's like my cells are on fire and it's ready to receive, right?
That's that holy fire. Now,
yes,
that is that holy fire. that they speak about in the Bible, you know, that the apostles, the tongues of fire went up on them and they began to speak
in tongues.
However, everybody need to understand them was languages that everybody that was out in the crowd could understand. In case you were Spanish, Latin, Greek, Ethiopian, each one of them could speak in a language that you had privy to through your ethnicity and your culture.
Absolutely.
It wasn't no babbling like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so because you know when you get done, we gonna back up and go over some things because my little man is ask him.
Yeah, listen, if we gotta I got a couple more, we can break into it.
Yeah, so let's break into it. Let's back up.
Okay,
let's back up. You mentioned as above, so below, and you said giving and taking, and then in that same connotation you mentioned how the mind is the receiver. So now, are we giving and taking, or are we giving and receiving? As
giving and
above,
receiving,
so below.
Absolutely.
We're dealing with that inverted reflection.
Yes,
cannot take from anything that is being given.
Absolutely.
You're either going to receive it in a particular manner, a particular way, because taking is thievery.
Right. And that's why being open is a big deal. Being open and having acceptance.
Yeah.
Acceptance. I find that since we're talking about relationships, loneliness, you know, being an opposite of relationship is being lonely. And sometimes we're in our own way. There's an illusion of separation if we're being true, because we're all one. And so it's just the illusion of separation, but you're absolutely right. That's why I love your consciousness of words. You catch it.
You know, I'll be hanging on to them.
Yeah, like, you do. I love it.
Okay, there I go. I said I wasn't gonna do it.
No, that's good. Listen, I love you to be in your lane. That's how I learn. It really is.
And so when you're discussing the law of attraction and resonance and purity and knowing what's in your field, I love that. How you said when you and your wife are being combatant with each other, or you and a friend, or whatever, you stop and you go, what's in my energy field? Am I giving it control? You start to check yourself. And that is very profound when we're dealing with the law of attraction.
Right.
Especially if you're trying to attract that God-fearing
God-fearing babe. Listen, it's choosing season. It's hot outside. Everyone wants someone that can complement the ideal life that they see for themselves.
Yeah. Because now, when we're dealing with resonance, though, Almighty, how are we telling that from karmic attraction versus lustful attraction?
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
The main difference, well, we're talking about virtue, and we're talking about things that add to the subconscious mind, and that's pertinent to your soul's journey. And so I believe that goes beyond the senses. If we're talking about lust, and you're talking about physical engrossment, now are the relationship that's in your life, do they cause liberation? Do they cause freedom? Right? Or are they just surface? You know? It'll cause you to really want to think about the highest idea of expression in regards to everything in your life. If we're talking about standards, right? It's just like when I was kicking in the hood, my homeboys would cuss around me and they would cut up, but now they're like, yo, there's certain things I know I can't do because out of respect, right? And it may not even be me, but if I step into any place like that, that's just the way it moves. That's the way the energy is. It's so funny. One of my homeboys went from like smoking to be like, hey, put that out, because he knew this is the homie that if something goes wrong, he gonna put money on my books, right? Yeah. If I need somebody that I can bring my kids to, this is a household of peace. He is a refuge. So it just moves differently, right? So that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on it.
Okay.
And it goes back to virtue. Virtue too.
I love that. Because you have to be in a certain, it's like this. How can you recognize your karmic sacred masculine or sacred feminine if you already aren't in a condition that causes you to recognize that there is something profoundly different in that individual, that immediately it makes you want to do what? Correct yourself.
Absolutely.
It makes you, so when I think of when you're touching on resonance, you know how the lady that I'm gonna always call her your first love, the lady that first loved you and you loved her first, and you said how she moved. No matter where she was, you could feel the shift,
right?
The energy in the room, and she just commanded a certain respect. Demons know.
Right, absolutely. It's not a game. They do.
They know whether y'all believe in them. Let's just call them negative forces.
Okay.
Come see, come saw, whatever names you put, they do have names. Now they do have names. However, even they know when there is a formidable force in their presence, that with even their master general, who leads them, know that, okay, now this one we're gonna all have to respect and calm down till they leave, and then we can start picking and choosing who we're gonna go in and out of.
Absolutely.
And cause chaos and mayhem. And I love that, how you pointed that out. So with pointing that out, Donelle, then church isn't the only place. You didn't find your wife in church, did you?
No, actually, just funny. I met my wife at work before I even had like a relationship with God like that. Like, and I love this about my wife, because when I was pushing, like I was in the streets, like I was that guy, where I'm at.
I can't.
Yeah, I know most people can't. So when she tell them stories about me, like people are like, what? Like, fam, there's been days when my wife would come home, it'd be so many pounds in the house, she would be terrified, like crazy. Like, what? Like, no, babe, no, right? Yeah, but then again, I had my night and day also. I remember, I almost got into a car accident, went in the church and heard God as audible as day. Look, you trusted everybody, and where's it gotten you? Right. Why not trust me? And I'm like, I don't even know you. I don't even know me.
Right.
So walking through it and seeing it for myself, I love the idea of experience, because it's something that no one can take from you. It's undeniable. And I would rather everybody's journey be like that, no matter which format it comes from you, because the idea of it is coming to have a divine friendship and intimacy with God, and the God in you, who God called you to become, or who you are. That's why I like Almighty Already, because it's always a reminder that I'm almighty already. In my life, I always felt like I had to go and chase something to attain something, as if everything I would attain would magnify the inadequacy in me. It's almost like whenever Adam and Eve was in the garden and God came back, and Adam like, y'all ate the apple, like what's going on? He's like, yeah, we ate the apple, told me to eat it. Who told you were naked? Like, right? Yeah. Well, he told me if I wanted to eat the apple, I'd be like you, but you didn't know you was made in God's image already, right? And so this is the things that I look at, because people can dupe us into doing so many things if we let everybody else get to dictate and define who we are. You got to walk in it. It's been that way.
Yeah. And we can't leave out that immediately he sought to place blame on.
Absolute. On the woman.
That
Absolute.
woman that you gave me.
Yep.
So not that we gonna let any chaotic spirits try to run up in here and
absolutely
and wreak any kind of havoc or anything. Yeah. Took advantage of her nakedness.
Yeah.
Too.
Absolutely.
That happened all back. Yeah. So they say in their version. You also made a statement about the reason how we start and stop things, and then we meet them in our next event or situation,
right? Absolutely.
or encounter. And you made a statement about about staying to master it, to come to supreme understanding so that we won't have to repeat it.
Right, absolutely. So I believe that that's a lot when it comes to karmic bonds. From what I'll be looking at metaphysically, seeing relationships transition into multiple different lifetimes and having your soul tribe that's really there to help you develop those permanent understandings that you would like to master to come into the highest ideal version of yourself.
Permanent. I love that.
Yeah, permanent.
Permanent.
Right.
Yeah. I know it may sound strange. Permanent understanding to move. And when we come to a permanent understanding of that, are we being encouraged to move into a supreme overstanding?
That's my daughter.
What that baby need?
Honey, she just cooked some. I'm pretty sure she want me to try it out. I'm gonna try it later.
Oh, no. See, on the Deborah Show, we are very family oriented.
Okay.
You tell that baby to bring that sample in there.
Kiki.
Yeah.
She's not gonna come in here. She's not gonna come in here. Not with the show going. Yeah, she graduates tomorrow, 8th grade tomorrow. Man, she is brilliant too. My daughter, she's doing makeup now. She's an artist. She's amazing. She really is.
So what does she cook? What she wants you to sample? Come on in here.
Oh, you cooked some chicken.
Come on, bring it in here, Daddy. Hi, baby.
That braiding, she said, "Hi, can you hear me?" That breading looks good. And a pickle.
I looked it up after a KFC recipe.
Did you?
Yeah, we can always break. But I love people seeing how my guests, especially if they're family oriented, I want visuals of how they interact with their loved ones.
Absolutely.
You know, because you can tell a lot about your guest speakers, blah, 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 by the way, you know, their environment, their real world, the real world. And I want to see that. And, you know, because our children are important and you're important to your children.
Right. Absolutely.
And when she came, she's prepared something.
Right. It's awesome.
And she's
great.
She's put her heart in that.
Right.
Bringing it to Daddy.
Yeah.
Baby,
both of them are like that, man. I'm really blessed. Like seriously, like abundantly, richly.
Yes, the Deborah Show can wait.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that.
And break for that.
Yeah.
So that you can continue to be that example to your children. That baby, this eliminates excuses for them to go out and act out in society.
Absolutely.
Say, well, you were never there and you didn't have time for me. And when I needed you, well, look here. When I needed you, you was on stage, or when I needed you, no, look at here. You stop. Stop the band, stop the music, the people in the audience that have paid their money to come see you. They can wait a minute if your baby's in the background. Hello?
Man, the biggest regret I've ever heard somebody say is, I wish I had more time. Yeah. I wish. It's never about the money. It's not about any of that, but I wish I had more time. It's like the biggest regret I usually hear from people.
Hold on one second.
Fluidity.
You know, we pick up where we left off. So now when we're talking about supreme understanding within that field of resonance of law of attraction, keeping that, how do you know, Donelle, what's an indication that you've reached that supreme understanding and life now, because life determines everything,
right?
Okay? Life dictates what happens with the body.
Yeah.
So the mind and life dictate. So how would you say within a relationship with, like, discovering who I am,
right,
in a creating a karmic bond. How do I know
Right.
that I've gotten to supreme understanding and now I'm going to be moved in another direction?
It's so crazy. Harmony and alignment. It has a feeling to it. Your intuition, your gut, and love. So now I view things and I view it as wholeness and separation.
Yeah.
Right. And just like the situation I mentioned with my wife, the latest situation we had was she was so drained and she was trying to get me to understand something. And I was finding myself trying to defend myself, which was ego, just rising his head, defending myself, like I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And it wasn't until I set my attention on divine friendship. And I said, man, I want to know what this looks like and what this feels like. And I focused my attention on it. And I had a revelation of, you know what? Sometimes it's not about solving the problem. Sometimes it's about being in her shoes and being able to put myself in her shoes and create that oneness. When I spoke to her, she was like, I felt the relief. It was like something came off her shoulders and it allowed us to get closer and it allowed me to just listen. But it's that feeling always. And of course, your journey is never ending. You're always learning, consistently growing, consistently expanding until all the holes that's been filled or whatever you come here that you want to learn has been learned and you understood it. And I think that especially for master teachers, they know, right. You know, like Buddha said, this is my last time here. After this, I'm gone, right? Because he knew he had so much permanent understanding had developed over so many lifetimes. He knew what he was called to achieve. Right. And I think we all have that. We have that once we know, okay, I feel fulfilled. My divine purpose has been served. There's no reason for me to be here now.
That's awesome. Now, when you mention putting yourself in her shoes or in anybody's shoes in a situation, I'm going to put a little twist on this. Do you see, because you brought out your ego. So
right.
You know, put that
in my field. Once again, in my field.
I gotta put that back over there in your field. How in the world, because you're conscious enough already, almighty already, not saying you're 1000%.
Right, absolutely.
However, at least to some depth and degree, you have some supreme understanding under your belt about certain things. Control should be one of them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, but now I'm finna twist it.
Okay.
How in the world did you allow ego to creep up in there in your field when you was trying to defend yourself in that situation?
See, you know, I'm grateful for it though. I'm grateful for it. It's just like symptoms are supposed to be great teachers. Right? And so that's still great because even though most people be like, I messed up. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Because I get to learn something. This is beautiful. And it was a challenge.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm not gonna lie, we all love peace. We love when everything is in harmony, everything is beautiful, passionate, you know, we love that. But even within the other side of it, we still have some duality. I mean, there's still duality, right?
It's all in peace and harmony. It's like a flat line. Ain't no, ain't no.
No, talk to them. I heard somebody say, if you grew up with the perfect parents, right? Perfect school, they was both wealthy. You never got hurt at all. There was no accidents. You went and played for the basketball team and scouted. You got the team. You had the perfect coach. Y'all won every championship, grew up, had the perfect kids, 2 kids. You got the perfect job, graduated, educated. You wouldn't even read the book. You would go all the way to the end because it would be boring.
You know what? But then you commit suicide and
there you go.
You happen to succeed at it.
Yeah, that's it.
Because, you know, yeah.
So I'm saying permanent understanding is a real interesting concept because the stimulus.
Do you have something to say, Mama True Love? Are you trying to say something? Unmute your mic.
Okay, so yes. So this discovery is like really amazing that this conversation is here. And I need to share with Donelle that he is absolutely right. I know I've experienced that same scenario. And at first, not knowing that it was a learning experience for me, I felt ashamed. But then I thought about it. These are my friends. I have to keep an eye on them. And it was one day we were laughing and joking about how our parents discipline us. And I said, you remember when you were little, your mom used to cuss you out in front of your friends? And both of my friends were like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. But then I started to understand them and get to know them on a deeper level. And those same things that irked me about my friends are the same thing. They're powerful women too, powerful Black women. And the same thing that irked me about them were the things that, like, they don't know any better. I have to enlighten them. Like, I was so irked by them. So that scenario is something that we all have to pay attention to with people and friends and gifted friends that's part of your tribe or part of your journey, because you may be crossing their path to help them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And by far. So what you really helped us is recognize, everybody's always trying to escape their ego. You say the word ego and they're like, suppress it.
Right.
Yell it, beat it up, stomp it. The ego gets so much brutality. We really brutalize the ego. Yet what you just did was show us how, with the ego coming in, you can go, well, look at that. The ego came in to offer me an opportunity to learn something.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you what's profound about it, because people they don't use it in an efficient manner. Yeah. I still use the ego. It's the ego defending itself. Now it's like, hold on. What does divine friendship look like? Now the ego can say, oh, let's get the ingenuity going. Let's figure out what that looks like. Yeah. Let's be silent. Now you give it imagination. What is a bond? What would a great bond look like between me and my wife? What does a divine friendship look like? What does the ideal self look like of bringing that between us? What would that look like projected in my field? How would that impact our whole household, right? And so now it's me and her, our compatibility grows stronger. We create more wholeness within the family, and our kids see that. But not just that, but she goes out into the world. We carry it out into the world. So
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but how do they know that has anything to do with spirituality and metaphysics?
How do they?
Yeah, because the whole, this resonance.
Yeah.
Is not.
What's so crazy is that, okay, my wife just started a new position. She got a promotion. She goes to this event. She's like, yo, I got to meet the supervisor. These people from out of town, and never been here. She meets a woman, sits at the table. The woman says, your energy is just beautiful. It's just something about you. And she says, oh yeah, energy. They start talking. She's like, oh, metaphysics. My husband studies metaphysics. She says, oh, really? They have a dialogue about it. There's a guy that's like, I know about, energy, stuff like that, but I don't follow it. But the thing about it, I tell people, is like, metaphysics is what governs all of creation. So whether you acknowledge it or not, like oxygen is there, like the elements of the earth, wind, fire, it's all there. It all makes up everything, regardless if you know about it or not. But once again, we're all on a journey to come into realization of it and understand it's just as much as part of us, or we are a part of everything else.
Yes. So would you say that it would be fair to say, to experience spirituality, the abstract unseen that we bring into materialization through manifestation by laws of attraction, and that the physical evidence, first of all, is, like you said,
absolutely,
we're experiencing the metaphysics of air, oxygen.
Right.
Don't tell me, well, I know a little bit about it, but I don't really follow it. You breathing.
Right. Or the fact you sit in a chair, everything in this world came from thought. Your
So,
chair, this computer, everything.
yeah, fire. You
Right, yeah.
know that burns, right? Or cooks your food, or yeah,
Purifies your soul too.
yeah,
Let me
yeah.
tell you, I wasn't feeling well the other day and we got to do a bonfire. I'm like, I feel amazing. It's beautiful.
Mhm.
It is.
Yes. So when we talk about metaphysics being everything in creation is metaphysical. Now remember now, meta, if my memory serves, means earth. Okay.
Right.
Because we're talking about physical. So it's got to be something
Earth
that can
substance.
be seen and experienced, on that lower level of the above.
Right,
So
absolutely.
when we start talking about spirituality and spiritual, we're talking about etheric forms. And we can't really see the wind, okay?
Oh,
We
no, it's
can't see
there.
air unless, it's a cold day and we're talking and you see that.
Yeah.
That's the only time that we get to experience what we think air looks like in that
It's
form.
powerful.
So when we're talking about a soulful love, spiritually and metaphysically, how important is that for each of you in
Right.
that relationship, to be aware of? Because you can be aware of it, and that's that unequal yoking.
Right. I think man, it depends on your journey because there's a twofold. Sometimes I feel like relationships work in cycles. So let's say this relationship doesn't work out. It doesn't take anything away from me. It doesn't take anything away from her. It's still a beautiful journey. That's why I think I got a problem with the term of divorce and failure. Because even in nature, I mean, there's spring, there's summer, there's fall, and all nature has cycles with it. I think it really does depend on the kind of individual you are and what you really think enriches your life along the journey. Right. For us, we happen to be loyal people. I feel like my soul craves my wife. For some reason, to my wife, that's home to me. Right. So it's different. I've been in situations where I've been around other women, and I've been in situations where truly I've been in tune with my heart, and it feels like I've known you in another lifetime before. I've known you before. I've seen you before. I've experienced you before. Like there's something much deeper than that. And then I also keep in mind time and space, throughout all time and space. The odds of us meeting in this time, in this space, in this geographic location, like it's vast, right? And so I think about the intention that goes with cultivating a relationship, because on many times we could have been separated, but now we have a family, we have children that truly magnify the relationship that we have with each other. And that works with any relationship that I have, whether it's meeting you for a reason, knowing that you have been called, nothing by coincidence, to pass on something to me, to cultivate this journey that we have called and met together because we chose this lifetime. Right. You chose your parents. May not admit it, right? But you chose them. You chose them. That's your tribe for a reason.
Yeah. And we can thank Asa Laveau. Being the portal, for being that divine portal. And I know wherever he is, he's on top of it, because just because he's a badass.
Yeah, he is.
And so I thank him for connecting me with you, because when he connected me with you, then you connected me with Mama True Love.
Yeah.
For Mama True Love.
And I couldn't wait.
And it's that synchronicity.
Yes.
Is at work here because of the other individuals and circumstances and situations that are put in your path that uplifts you. You still got to do the work. You still got to grow.
Still got to, right.
Now, what were some of the other things on your, because we got you for like
building a legacy larger than self. So anytime you have this journey, it's never meant to be stagnant. It's like the post I made today. A lot of this ease comes from us not operating with the nature of who we're called to become. And that usually means creating something that's larger than yourself. Like we serve a mighty, intricate God that is so beautiful. And it's always about giving away something, or not giving away, but functioning within something that's so much larger in yourself that causes you to expand. And I love it. You know, like conversations like this, they surpass the test of time. No matter when you play this is timeless. It's eternal, because we eternal beings, and our relationships are rich for that, because they're soulful relationships.
Yes, very soulful. There's a beautiful the Sabian affirmation that we say, that was taught to us by Dr. Malachi Zora Kobino York Okran, who is a Liberian diplomat and is incarcerated right now under the wrong name in Florence at the Supermax. And he taught us this anthem, and it says, I am in the divine love of the all, and all divine love is in me.
Yes.
I am a part of the all, and the all is a part of
me.
I
Yes.
am one with the all, and the all is one with me. I
It's
can
like,
succeed as a part of the all, or fail as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
As long as my desires are to stay a part of the all, I am never by myself. The all is, I am. The all can, I can. The all does, guess what, Almighty already, you got to do it.
You got to do it. Absolutely. Yeah, it's coming to that worthiness. Most people have an easier time believing in the things that Jesus say he did than believing in the things that Jesus said they can do.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I am the Father of one.
You know, giving honor to all of that, and still keeping it within the sanctity of metaphysics and so-called spirituality, because we got to know what a spirit is and what a spirit is not, in order to understand what's being soulful is, if you have a soul.
Right.
Because everybody ain't got one. Some of us just, that's why there are spirits, and then there are souls with spirits who come with the whole complete package. Yet there's still that aspect that I need you to elaborate just a little further on, and then that is, how do you think your relationship would be working? I mean, let me ask you like this. How does your wife feel about you going into metaphysics? Because now that's something else now, adding to your character, adding to all of that almighty already consciousness.
Right. I think it's beautiful. I think she really appreciates it. It's allowed me to, it's brought healing to us in areas that I didn't know possible. So I think it brings a greater depth of joy. It brings a greater depth of intentionality. It brings a greater depth of, I think that's everything that's pertinent to having a successful relationship, if I'm honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
In most cases, people move, but they don't know why they're moving. They speak, but the words don't have intent.
Wow.
They think, but they don't have really control over their mind. It just runs reckless and it runs wild, right? And so I think within metaphysics, what it's done for me personally and for our relationship is it allowed me to truly be clear on the things I would like to, and it allows me to also raise her consciousness, because we're still one vessel. So oftentimes,
that's the consciousness.
Yeah. And so I think that even for both of us, we balance back and forth with our energy. And I believe I haven't asked her, but I can see the changes that's taking effect in our relationship. It's interesting. I'll take a good example. She writes powerful statements on her water. And I read the book, The Power of Water.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I would say things to her and she would do it. And to me, it's like, wow, it's impressionable. And I know that may seem like it's small, but I like it because my wife has like a genius IQ. I'm very smart myself, very intelligent, but it's always been something that I look up to. And whenever you see people you look up to do things like that, it's a greater sense of intimacy. It makes you feel heard, felt, and valued.
Yes.
That's oneness. That's what divine friendship and karmic bonds is about.
Yeah.
It's about how can we grow richer in understanding and love and everything that is the divine expression of God's nature in the physical body.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think I should drop the mic on that.
Pound dog. Somebody call you Almighty Already.
Already.
And you have that stature, you know, here you are, you're so tall, you know,
Right.
something has to go along with that, you know. And I'm so glad that whatever transpired in your life, over your life, has transpired through your life.
Yes.
And it continues, and you continue to give it a place where it has evidence.
Absolutely. Fruit.
You know, what is the most encouraging thing that you could say to anyone who doesn't see metaphysics having an inner role play within their relationship or in their life? All they know is that they believe in a God or some force. What would you say to them to encourage them to examine metaphysics?
Man, one of the most profound statements that I've ever heard is know thyself. Right. And if you come from a journey where, like me, I was led to believe that I was raised with no purpose, that my sense of inadequacy to be the only thing I would ever know, it means that mediocrity had become oppression. And we submit to these beliefs that don't serve our best interest. And so I always looked at like Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, these, George Washington Carver. We have rich culture.
Yeah.
And Booker T. Washington, all these extraordinary beings. And despite no matter what they faced in time, right? It's like, how did he build a whole institution during Jim Crow era?
Because there's no such thing as time.
Right, because we're infinite, right? And it's not like these are the only extraordinary beings that ever existed in time. It's just that they tapped into a sense of who they were, and they were able to do things that they never thought possible. And so when people think about metaphysics, I always love to look at it like this. I hope you don't live your dreams. I like what Sadhguru said. He says, I hope you live a life that's so far beyond anything that you can imagine that if you look back, you would say, I never thought that was possible.
Right.
And I love that God wants us to seek that out.
Yeah.
Metaphysics, we're supposed to seek out the highest state of expression.
Yes.
That's what life is all about. It's a joy in it. If you can find anything that can match that, I would love to be able to discover what that is. But for me, I love this. It's brought some of the most powerful beings into my life, and the journey has just gotten started.
Right. Right. And I think that when we all soulfully, to me, my intuition is my soul. Okay. Our intuition is our soul. It's that bigger us that stays connected to that all.
Yes.
It couldn't be put inside. All of it couldn't be put inside this little
right. Physical, meat flesh.
box, body, whatever you want to call it. That's why it's called, that's why we named it aura, because it is something seen outside of the normal shell.
That's right.
That's still, the within is like the without, the above is like the below. So I think it would be, when we talk about a soulful love, is recognizing that our intuition is that love.
Oh yeah, it is. It is that love.
And it is, like we say, God is, that intuition is that God is, because we are an expression of that divine image.
Right. That's it. It's your birthright.
Yeah, it's that birthright. Feminine into masculinity. We got to deal with that supreme metaphysical genetics. Some of it is inescapable, whether you like science or don't like science and religion together or whatever. Genetics, science don't lie. Okay.
Right.
That's where that soulful love begins, is recognizing your greater self.
Right.
You say, I'm not into metaphysics, I don't usually get, you got to be into it. Every time you say that something told me, you just acknowledged metaphysics.
Right. Yeah. And the greatest richness of life comes from being in harmony, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. Your body will tell you, look, something ain't right. Your heart will tell you, like, something ain't right. Like, there is a greater sense of intelligence within you.
Yes.
It functions, it's brilliant. Why would you not want to tap into the greater depths of who you are? Why not have a greater relationship with who you are? So
yes.
I think we got a resonance.
Give us a rundown of the first 5, and then you're gonna say be different and love it.
All right. So listen, resonance, how to attract and sustain love. Get into key tune of who you called to become. Write that down. Have an idea. What's the idea look like? What does virtue look like? What is a couple tidbits that make you want to elevate? Recognizing what's in your field. You keep the soul clean and create purity. Look at that harmony. What's in my field? I would encourage you all, if you're watching this, go out and look at relationships with different individuals and say, what do I know this person from? Look at them beyond just the physical body, but look at their soul to see, do I know this person from another lifetime? What can we add to this to create divine relationship between us? Strengthening and empowering karmic bonds. Your purpose. What are you here to achieve? Why did you choose this time, this space, your parents, your birth place, this earth? Right? You could have been anywhere. Could have been a cricket. I don't know. Right? Developing divine friendship and self and lover. Man, look at your divine friendship with yourself. How can you improve love for who you are? How can you dive into understanding when God said, I made you in my image? What does that look like? Figure out what that godly aspect of you is supposed to look like and model that. Build a legacy larger than yourself. I pray that people can wake up and have something that propels them to having a great day. Can we normalize that? Like, stop waking up and feeling like, oh, I don't want to do this. It's okay to create a life that sets your soul on fire, that you can look forward to it other than just weekends. We can just get rid of this, thank God it's Friday, oh my God, it's Monday mentality, and start propelling us into a greater aspect of something that makes us look forward to it. It feels better. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying, and making Wednesday hump day. Everybody, Monday on Tuesday, I'm trying to make it to Wednesday for the hump day. Well,
why can't they all be hump day?
I am so grateful and thankful that while everybody's humping on hump day on Wednesday, it's my off day.
Yes, your off day.
Ancestors have decided I have humped enough to where I get both Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay. And I can do like you suggested, Donelle, and go out and watch people on hump day and say,
I wonder. That person's in your field. Like something brilliant happened. You can be like, this is in my field. This brilliance is all me.
My field. So now I need you to say, because we gotta let you go.
Okay.
Let's go. I need you to say, be different and love it.
Be different and love it. Oh, be different and love it.
Thank you. Mama True Love, you ain't escaping. Now it's your turn. Unmute that mic and say it.
Yes.
Be different and you better love it.
And you better love it. And as I always say to my viewing audience or listening audience, honey, that pinwheel love, I'm going to send y'all that pinwheel love. And it takes more than a notion. You better put some motion in that love.
Like it.
Pinwheel love, baby. Pinwheel love.
I like this.
Love. Peace and blessings.
Okay.
All right. Have a great one. Bye.